Good morning. There's some mist and fog to watch out for this morning, particularly in southern areas. Quite a bit of cloud, but there will be some brightness, and I'll put that all together in about 10 minutes. This morning, if you're out and about early on, watch out for some mist and fog, particularly so across southern parts of England, also around the Midlands, East Anglia and Staffordshire. Now, it will be slow to lift in some parts, but it should lift. Then we'll see some brightness coming through. But at the other end of the country, we've got this weather front, which has been sinking southwards through the night, introducing more cloud across Scotland, northern England and also Northern Ireland. And this morning, expect some drizzle. High pressure's in charge in the south. There's hardly a breath of wind, which is why the fog is going to linger a little bit longer. But when it lifts, we will see some coming in from the Atlantic, so that's taking in quite a bit of cloud with it as well. But somewhere like Aberdeenshire, in the sunshine this afternoon, could reach 15 degrees, whereas we're looking at 11 in Cardiff. Now, through this evening and overnight, again, there'll be some clear spells in the south. It'll be a cold night, just like this morning. And once again, there will be some fog patches forming, but there'll be more of a breeze, so we don't expect it to hang around as much. But look at the temperatures in the south, not as cold as we push further north. So this fog should lift more readily tomorrow, and then once again tomorrow there will still be quite a bit of cloud around, but equally there'll be some brighter skies, particularly in the south later on. And our temperature values, well, nothing particularly to write home about. We're looking at about 11 to 13. Charlie and Naga. For some of us, absolutely fair, Charlie. Yes, good morning everyone. But for others, no, it's been actually quite mild, and quite mild across the northern half of the country. Kirkwood, for example, in the Northern Isles, 13 degrees at the moment. Belfast 7, Manchester 5. But as we come further south under clearer skies, the temperature is much lower, as Charlie suggested, and in rural areas it's even lower than this. Now, it's mild in the north because we've had a weather front sinking south, taking its cloud and rain, which is now drizzly rain, moving southwards through the night. It will continue to do that through the day. And with high pressure in charge in the south, it's bang over us, which does mean that there's not much of a breeze to move this mist and fog around. So it'll be slow to clear. Some of it will lift into low cloud. Some of it could hang around all day. But when it does lift, we're seeing some sunshine. Now, we've also got the wind coming in from the Atlantic, breezy across the far north of Scotland in the Northern Isles, and it's bringing in a fair bit of cloud, but the mountains shielding it. So we'll see some sunshine, for example, in Aberdeenshire, where we've got highs today of 15 degrees, 10 in London, 12 in Plymouth and Belfast. Now, through this evening and overnight, once again, there will be some clear skies in southern parts of England and also Wales. We'll also see a return to some mist and some fog, some pockets of frost here and there, but generally quite a lot of cloud. Temperature-wise, we're looking at 10 degrees as overnight low in Stornoway, whereas come south in towns and cities, we're looking at between 4 and 6. But because there'll be more of a breeze through the night and into tomorrow, that will help shift the mist and fog that forms overnight more readily than it's going to do today. So tomorrow again, it will brighten up across parts of England and also Wales. Again, quite a bit of cloud around, but some brightness nonetheless, and mostly dry. You can see some showery outbreaks of rain across the far northwest of Scotland. Temperatures ranging from 11 in the north to about 13 as we push further south. But it is going to turn that bit milder. You can see the blue hues being replaced this weekend by the milder yellows and oranges, and that will be slow progress as it moves further north, but it will eventually get there. So on Saturday, still a lot of dry weather around. You might see a little bit of patchy mist or fog first thing in the morning, but then later in the day, the cloud's going to thicken and the wind is going to pick up a bit across the southwest. And this is heralding the arrival of an area of low pressure. Temperature-wise, generally 10 to 15. You can see a 7 and an 8 on the charts though. So this is the area of low pressure coming our way. It's coming up from the Bay of Biscay. It's going to be moving steadily northwards, and it's got a weather front in it. So it's going to be introducing some rain, not particularly heavy rain though. Quite a bit of cloud ahead of that. The rain generally in the west, but we will see some spots of that getting into eastern areas as well. Sunday though, not looking too bad now again, Charlie. Oh. Good morning. There's some dense mist and fog around this morning, particularly the fog, of course. Fair bit of cloud, some brightness and windy across the far north, but I'll put all that together in 10 minutes.
Jessica had the fog in the background, not just all over the screen.
Naga, you are incorrigible. Good morning, everybody. But it is indeed a picture from our weather watchers, and it is from snow crystals of Basingstoke, some dense fog, and across southern areas, East Anglia, in through the Midlands, and also Staffordshire, there is some dense fog around this morning, especially. Now, that will take its time to lift. There's not much of a breeze to move it along, but it will lift as we go through the latter part of the morning into the afternoon. You can see high pressures in charge, and that's in the centre, not much in the way of wind. Now, we've got a weather front sinking southwards across Scotland, Northern Ireland, and also Northern England, taking all this cloud with it. It's produced some rain overnight. It's now just drizzle, and we'll see some brightness coming in across eastern Scotland, but still quite windy in the north, and some brightness developing across parts of England and Wales, where the fog does lift. Temperature-wise, in the sunshine in Aberdeenshire, we could hit 15 degrees. As we come further south, London looking at about 9. Temperatures will be suppressed if you're in an area with cloud or fog all day. Now, through this evening and overnight, once again, there'll be some clear skies in the south. We'll see mist and fog return, but there'll be more of a breeze. So that does mean that the mist and fog will lift more readily tomorrow morning. These are our overnight lows, 4s and 5s in towns and cities, lower than that in rural areas. But as we push further north, it's not going to be as cold a night. Look at that in Stornoway, 10 degrees. So as we head through tomorrow, we still will have areas of cloud, the fog breaking up across southern areas. We'll see some sunshine develop as well, particularly across parts of England and Wales. But for Northern Ireland and Scotland, you too should see some sunshine, with temperatures ranging from, again, 11 in the north to about 12 or 13 as we push down towards the south. Now getting Charlie. I'd rather stand in the puddle and then jump, rather than take a running jump at it, because you get a good big splash then, and that's half the fun. Okay, good morning, everybody. Thank you, Naga. This morning, for some of us, it's a beautiful start to the day. As you can see from this lovely picture from Wales of the sunrise, but there's also a lot of mist and fog, some dense fog around this morning, particularly across parts of southern England, East Anglia, the Midlands, and Staffordshire. Now, some of this will be very slow to lift, and that's because we've got high pressure anchored across us, and in the centre, you can see a distinct lack of isobars, so there's no wind to move that fog along, but there's a lot of isobars across the far north of Scotland. So across the North Mainland and the Northern Isles, another day of gusty winds for you. Now, the mist and fog should mostly lift as we go through the latter part of the morning, but some of it will stick. And if you're stuck under that, well, the temperatures will be suppressed. The winds coming in from the Atlantic, blowing in a fair bit of cloud too across Northern Ireland and Scotland. But in the shelter of the Grampians, we could see some sunshine and temperatures getting up to 15 degrees. Come further south, we're looking at about 9 to 12. As we head on through the evening and overnight, once again under clear skies, it's going to be a cold night in southern areas, and we'll see some mist and fog forming. Quite a bit of cloud across the north of the country with 1 or 2 clearer skies. And you can see the temperatures in the north are going to be higher than they're likely to be in the south. And don't forget, these temperatures indicate what you can expect in towns and cities. In rural areas, they will be a bit lower than this. So with more of a breeze in southern areas tomorrow, the mist and fog should lift more readily, and we'll see a return to some blue skies, some sunshine. In the north, we still will have a fair bit of cloud coming in, but some eastern parts should see some brightness, if not indeed some sunshine. Temperatures 11 in Lerwick to about 13 in Norwich. Now, as we head through the weekend, we see a change in the wind direction. It's going to have more of a southerly component to it. And look at that, we lose the blue hues and we see a return to ambers. Largely dry note, maybe a little bit of mist and fog first thing, but there'll be a fair bit of dry weather and a fair bit of sunshine. Later in the day, though, wind will pick up a bit across the southwest and we'll start to pull in some rain. And that's because we've got an area of low pressure coming our way, the high pressure by then having drifted off to Central Europe. So here it is. The timing of this could change, but we expect it to move steadily northwards as we go through Saturday night into Sunday, taking its cloud and rain with it. So in graphical form, you can see there is quite a bit of cloud ahead of it, and then here comes the rain. Not particularly heavy rain. A lot of it will be in the west, but we could see some across parts of northern England getting into northeast Scotland. In the south, it should brighten up behind that. Look at the temperatures, 15 or 16 degrees, so it's starting to climb. But as we move further north, we're looking at between 9 and 12. So roughly in the north, on average for this time of year, but above average in the south. Charlie Necker.
Carol, thank you very much.
Good morning. There's some dense fog around this morning, particularly across southern and southeastern areas, including the Midlands and Staffordshire. There's also a fair bit of cloud elsewhere, but there's some sunshine, and I'll tell you where you can expect that in 10 minutes. Morning, everyone. Well, Charlie, it's fairly mixed. Some of us are waking up to a beautiful sunrise this morning, as we can see here in Herefordshire from one of our weather watchers, but others are waking up to some dense fog, particularly so across parts of southern and southeastern England, the Midlands and Staffordshire. High pressure is dominating our weather. There's no isobars in the centre of this, so nothing to move that fog along Scotland, Northern Ireland and into Northern England. Gusty winds across the far north of mainland Scotland in the Northern Isles, and in the shelter of the Grampians we could see temperatures in any sunshine get up to 15 degrees. Come further south, we're looking at about 9 to 11. That's if you're not in an area that hangs on to the fog, but most of it should lift. Now, through this evening and overnight, we'll see the mist and fog reform in southern areas. Another cold night, but quite a bit of cloud around. Milder in the north compared to the south. And don't forget, these temperatures indicate what you can expect in towns and cities. It'll be colder than that in rural areas. But tomorrow, there'll be more of a breeze in the south. That means that the mist and fog should disperse more readily. We'll see some brightness, some sunshine coming through, but still quite a bit of cloud at times across Northern Ireland, Scotland and Northern England. Nonetheless, you will see some brightness coming through that cloud at times. Temperatures 11 in the north to about 13 as we sweep down towards Norwich and also Plymouth. That's how it's looking for now. Charlie, to answer your question, back to you too. Andy? It is. It's foggy this morning, Naga. Good morning, everyone. Some dense fog patches at that as well, particularly across parts of southern England, East Anglia, the Midlands and Staffordshire, but not exclusively. You can see the extent of the fog in Redhill in Surrey this morning, but it's not just in Surrey, and some of it will be very slow to clear. Some of it could linger for much of the day and just lift into low cloud. If that happens where you are, then it will suppress the temperatures. Now, high pressure is in charge, and in the centre of this high pressure, you can see no isobars, so there's no wind to move that fog along. The weather front sinking south overnight produced some rain across Scotland. It's now really producing drizzle and a fair bit of cloud across southern Scotland, Northern Ireland, Northern England, and that will slip into North Wales later. Quite breezy as well, especially so across the far north of Scotland into the Northern Isles. And that breeze and the wind is bringing in a fair bit of cloud. But as it clashes with the Grampians, we'll see some sunshine across Aberdeenshire, with temperatures getting up here to about 15 degrees. And where the fog lingers, as I mentioned, it will suppress temperatures. But where it lifts and it brightens up, we'll see highs 11 or 12 degrees across parts of the south. Now, through this evening and overnight, once again, it's going to be a cold night under clear skies in southern areas. We'll see some mist and fog patches develop and still quite a bit of cloud across Scotland, Northern England and Northern Ireland. Now, we will still see some clear skies in and amongst this cloud, but generally speaking, it's going to be milder in the north than it is in the south. And don't forget, these temperatures represent towns and cities, so in rural areas, they will be lower than this. But one thing about tomorrow morning is that it will be breezier across southern areas, so that should help disperse the fog more readily. And then it will brighten up quite nicely across much of England and Wales. And although there'll be cloud at times across Northern Ireland, Scotland and the far north of England, here too, we should see some brightness coming through. Temperatures 11 to about 13 degrees. As we head into the weekend, though, it is going to turn milder. You can see the blues being usurped by the milder yellows and ambers, so that will eventually get it into the far north of Scotland. Weather-wise this weekend, could well see stubborn fog lingering across the Vale of York on Saturday morning and also southeast Scotland, but there'll be a lot of dry weather around. Later in the day, the cloud will thicken in the southwest, the winds will pick up a bit and we'll see some rain. And that's going to be moving northwards during the course of Sunday, but not all of us will see it. But the temperatures will be a little bit higher. And again, Charlie.
Carol, thank you very much.
Thanks,
Pleasure.
Carol.